I think I'm near the top of it. But you know, we just had Bill McIntyre on across the hall, and all of the polls were wrong. I think the Clinton camp is already sort of putting out this Comey spin, and it's half of the story. But the other half is what it did to him. He closed stronger than anyone in recent political history. And our folks that were on the trail with him talked about it. The New York Times wrote an incredible piece about how it was this thunderbolt that just got him on message. He made a closing argument that is being reflected in the exit polls about being an outsider. In a year when you like no one, you pick the known unknown, not the known, no, I don't like her. You pick the, I don't know if I don't like him. And that's what they picked. They picked, you know, I know I don't like her. I don't know how much I don't like him. And the closing argument from the Clinton campaign, this is about what kind of country you live in, is something every parent is going to have to grapple with, because this is the country we live in, where the disgust, I think 10 months ago I called him political chemo, who wipes out all the healthy blood cells, who takes out everything with him, because people think the disease is so acute, they're willing to take the strongest medicine possible. I think that's what we are seeing. The cancer was Washington, and a lot more people than we predicted, than our pollsters predicted, viewed him as the cure.
Why aren't any incumbents losing?
Well, you know, George W. Bush campaigned for, I think, every Republican who won tonight on the board, and his message was anti-protectionism, anti-isolationism, and anti-nativism. So voters are really smart, and I think they've calculated that at the top they want change.
But it can't be that
how is that smart if you're voting for two different things, right?
Return all of Congress.
You're voting for two diametrically
then why isn't she winning? And listen, it is far more likely at this point that he wins than she wins. It is far more likely at this point that, you know, and I say this not as someone who voted for him, but it is far more likely that he wins, and it is far more likely that tomorrow morning we're talking about a Trump cabinet than a Clinton cabinet.
I'm not disputing that. What I'm disputing is that the diagnosis is that people wanted to get rid of Washington. Because if they wanted to get rid of Washington, they would have thrown out Ron Johnson. They would have
she'd been there 30 years. I think at the top, they viewed her as less appealing than him. I'm looking at the same polls.
Yeah, but it's not a diagnosis for the rest of what happened tonight. I think, which I think is a fascinating thing. I don't know what it means that the Republican Party survives intact, and the only thing that changes is a radically different type of person at the top.
I am not saying it's intact. I am not saying it's intact.
Paul Ryan
and Jim Comey, two Republicans, become like the last dinosaurs tomorrow morning. They become the most endangered species in the country.
Because Trump's going to try to throw Ryan out?
Donald Trump wants to work with the Speaker Ryan. He may say so tonight, and if he wins in a victory speech. Paul Ryan is endangered. He had the most uncomfortable and really excruciating endorsement of Donald Trump. I mean, if Trump wins, I think he wants a speaker that's going to go along with his.
He's going to get in there and be like, vengeance is mine. John McCain, you're dead.
I don't think the party's intact. I'm only half joking about getting deported myself. It's not intact, but it has, at the level of our voters and our base, it has embraced change over stability.
What does the new party call itself?
You know, like I keep thinking of, you know, Prince, the band formerly known as. I don't know. You know,
it's still the
party formerly known as the Republicans.
Had they thrown out more people running for Congress and running for the Senate, I would think that the Republican Party was going to be radically different. Instead, I think they just swapped out the guy at the top. Everybody else goes back.
He's just not any guy, though.
It's a pretty radical change at the top, though.
Yep.
It is. And so, you know, I mean, one of the questions I think we would be asking if this went that way is, you know, where do you draw the line pro-Trump, anti-Clinton, you know, in terms of how people voted and why they voted that way?
We have a poll we take here at NBC Wall Street Journal, which guys like Jack Germond believed in as religion over the years. It's the right direction, wrong direction question. It's not ideological. It can mean we were too far left. It can mean we were too far right. You have to read it the way you read it. But it's been pretty consistently two-thirds we don't like the direction of this country. And so we tried, as a country, we picked hope, big poster. No, wait, I was for that all the way, of course, I'll admit it. And we're looking all the time for change. We made changes in 08. We made a change in 10. Right? We made more of a change in 14. We're maybe making a change in 16. The president had a tremendous bond with this candidate for president of the Democratic Party. I've never seen a closer bond. She's my candidate. He's my president. Let's get together. We're going to do this. Well, it's not working tonight, so clearly. It's certainly not clear yet
Well,
who's going to
he has
win.
a very
But
high
I do
approval
think there's
rating.
tremendous response to that wrong direction number, that people keep trying to find the president they want, and they keep hoping. The Bernie crowd, this guy Bernie wasn't going to be president, but it was pushing that button. I want change. Everybody was pushing that button who voted for Bernie. He didn't make
And
it.
people who like Trump liked Bernie as a second choice.
They want that change. They're banging on the pipes, more hot water, whatever they're saying. They want something. Like the kid says, I want an item. I want a thing.
In Berniestan, in Bernieville, a Vermont Republican has just been elected governor.
Well, maybe that tells
So,
us.
if you want-
I just think that there's an urge for something we don't have.
Yeah.
And if Trump wins, I think it will be the toughest job in history for him to deliver what he promised. If Hillary wins, she has to deal as an establishment figure, the first woman president, with a need to try to bind this country together and keep it workable for 4 years. And that means dealing with who is ever left on the Republican side.
Across our newsroom, Hugh Hewitt, we've had many discussions with you, Hugh, over this campaign season. We have them all on video. What do you make of what you're witnessing?
Well, I am perhaps the only admitted reluctant Trump voter in the building. And so I'm happy to explain. I think there are millions of people like me, people who are worried about the Supreme Court. I think Obamacare is the untold story here. I think it just clobbered people in Wisconsin and Pennsylvania. That's why Ron Johnson won. I had him on my radio show this morning talking about Obamacare. I think the Republicans are holding the Senate because there is a promise of the repeal and replacing of Obamacare. And while I understand Nicole's concerns, I don't share them. I think that what you will see with Donald Trump is a completely disruptive change force. There will be a drop in the market tomorrow. It will come back, and he will surround himself with Mike Pence's, and they will not throw out Paul Ryan. He will want to accomplish things. He's a builder. He is a very different personality than we've dealt with before. But for all those reluctant Trump voters out there who came home in the last 2 weeks, and I am one of them, we're feeling as though it's a policy election, and it's a rejection of Secretary Clinton's ethics. That's what it comes down to.
Hugh Hewitt will continue to knock this around here in this room. We're going to fit in a break. We are covering, to call it a fluid situation at the presidential level is an understatement. We'll be right back.